How's it going, everybody? It's Matt. Cheating the computer. All right. Oh man, 49ers playing the Packers. We should lose that game. All right, here we go. I want to thank everybody for coming through. I want to thank everybody for staying supported to the actual movement of self-improvement. I want to thank everybody for continuing to subscribe to the channel, Patreon, and all that kind of stuff. This lesson right here is probably one of the most important lessons that I've ever talked about on YouTube. This is why I make people take sides. Because if you're going to want to make it somewhere, you got to have a village. You got to have a village. And only people who think that they don't need to have and take a village are people who are incredibly stupid and who don't understand how America works. America works in groups. The group that you are a part of is the side that you're on. The track record of the consequences that people have when they mess with your group is also the side that you're on. So if you think that you're going to come within this particular society and not have a group that you are a part of, and somehow you're going to win in the same society that is based on groups, you're deluding yourself. You are truly deluding yourself. And then, so let's talk about groups of the past or immigrants of the past and what actual group that they join so that way they can have the protection of an even larger group. Now, you see this stuff all the time in transportation. Transportation, the people who are extra with the I'm on the police side are immigrants, especially those from the Muslim world, because they understand the protection of a group. They understand the protection that they don't want to have. They understand the group that they left. They understand the circumstances of what it took to actually get here, and they decided to be part of another group. And before people even come to them to ask any questions, they already know what the protection and what the sides are when they get here. They already know that. So you have to understand, yes, it always takes a village. It just matters what village that you're a part of when your ass get here. Because see, everybody wants the protection of a group when it comes to entertainment. Because entertainment is not a group. Entertainment is not a group, sir. Entertainment has never been a group. Entertainment has never got anybody in or out of political problems or trouble. There's no comedian other than Sinbad has actually went overseas and actually got actual black people out of trouble. There's very public photos of me being part of it with the military, being a part of things like that when they went overseas to go get somebody out of a situation they shouldn't have been in. So you have to understand that once you choose it, there's going to be a lot less individuals and people who's going to be riding with you once you pick a side. Because people want the protection of a group without picking a side. That's what that is about. That's what that is. I don't care what state you in, what city you in, what municipality that you in. There are sides. There are a group that you are a part of. When you come in contact with law enforcement or the military or anybody else, they know what group that your ass is a part of. And they treat you according to the type of group that you are in. What's going on, Rock? Phil 7, what's going on, B? What's going on, Ike? What's going on, Magic Matrix? Rihanna, City My Creator, Edmund Carter, Lil Rock. What's going on? So, you have to understand that there's no such thing as I'm a part of American society, but I'm not part of a group. That's not how that works. You have to understand that SYSBM is a group. Magos have a group. People who think that they're about to correct this domestic reptile are in. People who think that they're pro-black are in a group. People who think that they're pro-white are in a group. People who think that they're part of a party or a political system, they're all in groups. They only assign themselves to groups based on the benefits and the consequences of being a part of that group. When you join the military, you sign an oath. Or any police department, you sign an oath too. You sign an oath so that way you can get the protection of that group. Because whenever you get in trouble or problems within that group, there are people who are going to be able to protect you from consequences or watch your back as being part of that group. People who are part of healthcare are part of a group. People who are part of the legal system is part of a group. People who are in movies and TVs, they're part of a group. They're all part of groups. So if you want to understand how things work, you got to understand what type of group that you are a part of. You see, you have to understand that you can't claim to want the protection that others have within society as part of a group while you are not part of a group. That's how that works. All right, so let's go into the introduction. I was asking this question by a particular person a couple weeks ago. And I had to let this person know that you cannot expect a level of protection of a group without being a part of it. And this person was just going on like, oh, these people are doing this and these people are doing that. I'm like, okay, this is how this group works. This is how that group works. This is the track record of how these people gain this type of power. This is how these people gain this type of power, X, Y, Z. He was like, well, I don't understand. I'm like, yeah, groups take investment. No one invests in a bad group of people. He was like, well, I don't understand. I'm like, listen, what particular sport do you watch? This person said soccer. I don't know anything about soccer. But I'm like, okay, Cristiano Ronaldo. What group is he a part of? Oh man, he's the most recognized person in the world. Yeah, what group is he part of? This group. Yeah. You think they don't have PR agents and everyone else in the world who's going to protect an individual the moment they say something about that individual because he's part of a certain type of group? Why do you look at it that way? Like, yeah, that's what a group is. A group is a overlapping levels of protection. And you cannot go around thinking that you can make it in society without being part of a group. Me, my group is law enforcement. The second group I'm part is the military industrial complex. You would never have me come out here making statements on systems and programs that has anything to do with the group that I'm a part of. Because I know how that group works and I know what criticisms I can take so far, XYZ. Yeah, I know the group that I'm a part of has a lot of things that's wrong with it. But at the end, the protection of that actual group outweighs the actual consequences of the things that happen. So you got to understand that everything that you do has to be based on the type of group of people that you want to be a part of. The lieutenant governor of Nevada got assaulted by regular security people 5 days ago. That guy was part of the so-called conservative movement or Republican Party. You didn't hear not a single person within this space talk about this issue. Why? Because they were really not part of that group. Like those people who actually tackled that dude to the ground, even though they're private security people, they're going to pay a heavy ass cost for what happened. The type of group that that person is part of. People only want to associate themselves with groups. No one wants to be associated with your group if you're not out there winning. Like the actual other people who are out here, they only want to team with you if you're actually winning. So yes, it does take a village. It has always taken a village. But the village cannot be stagnant. The village that you are a part of has to be moving in a certain direction. No one wants to be a part of a group that haven't made any moves in 20 plus years, 30 plus years, 50 plus years. This is why when people get here, they join another group that has a hell of a lot more power than what you have, regardless of whether it's right or wrong. Why? Those people are not stupid. And they want to be part of a group that's winning. So you have to understand that when people get here from other places, they want to change themselves from a group that doesn't have power to a group that does have some political say to a group that has power itself. And the easiest way they can potentially do that is to not associate themselves with losers, not associate themselves no matter how good the cause is, no matter how wrong it is. Those people are trying to protect themselves once they get it. This is why history is important to the group that you are a part of. Because when people come here, they are well adept to the history of this place to where they're going. They really understand the history of the place to where they're going. And yes, you are not supposed to have power when you come to a different system. But in 5 or 10 years, you better have power based on the actual systems that are here within the environment itself. There's really no need for a person to not have productivity as the mainstay of the group that they are a part of when they get here after 5 or 6 years. I seen it when I was in Denver. Once I came back from overseas in the late 90s, I seen those people when they first came over here. how much power they didn't have, the type of people that they worked around. And it didn't even take 5 or 10 years before they was running the whole place. Why? When it came to a different system, they understood how things work. They understood that you can't do anything without skills and ability. That's what they understood. They understood that you can't ask for things if you're not part of a winning team. Because power is only exerted on people who don't have the protection of a group every single time. Those people understood that. They understood that a hell of a lot more than the people who was having the power exerted against them. But see, this is where the rubber meets the road. And anyone can have a conversation based on nonsense. Anyone can do that. You know what anyone can do? Anyone can climb the rungs of the ladder to move to another portion of society. Because groups are about taking action. So if you know that you're part of a group that's never taken any actions to actually challenge power within America, no one is going to want to team with you. That's how that works. No one is going to have sympathy with you. That's also how that works. If the only thing that you're known for is entertainment, no one's going to want to be a part of your group. No one's going to want to be a part of your group. If that's the track record that you have, is lionizing idiots and damn fools, dude, nobody wants to be a part of your group. Now, you're going to make it very far within those people who's not going to make it in. But when it comes to outside of that group, where you actually need to do things to put rubber to the road, ain't nobody want to. And that's my next point. Me, I was part of a group. I was from Mississippi. Who wants to be a part of the group of Mississippi? Nobody wanted to be a part of that group. But once I left Mississippi and once I joined the military, I was part of a different group. As a group than individuals in Mississippi itself. You see, that's why you join another group once you understand where you are in society. Now, see, I learned all this stuff by happenstance, but I did want to not be a part of that group. So I joined other groups so that way I can be able to have levels of protection like free college to a certain extent, to paying zero down on the mortgage, to all types of things. You see, I couldn't be having those types of protection being part of that group of Mississippi, but I had to leave that group and be part of another group on purpose in order to have those protections of another group. You see, a lot of people want to make it in society by the mouth nonsense, not taking sides, moving to another group when it's actually convenient. Dude, no one's going to allow you to be a part of the group. They know what you're about. No one is going to allow you to be part of their group unless you bring something to them that they want. A lot of people keep forgetting about that. They keep forgetting that those attributes that you brought from your previous group, you're not going to bring to a new group of people. A new group is not going to allow you to take all the value out of their group without you bringing something of substance to their group. People keep forgetting about it. People understand right and wrong on an individual level, but they forget about right and wrong when it comes to groups. This is why it's very hard for me to take culture warriors seriously within society and life. And once you dip your toe into that culture warrior nonsense, I'm never going to be able to team with you as a person. I'm never going to take you seriously outside the group that you join. Because I know what you think deep down as part of the group that you decide to be a part of. Believe it or not, winning in America is still part of a group still. You still have to be able to protect your back and your ass whenever you go out in society and life. Because making it in society, people are always going to try you based on the type of group that they think that you are a part of. Think about it. Contract law. When it comes to breaking contracts, based on the specific level of power that they can assert on another group without them having any type of recompense. That's what every type of contract dispute is about. Even though they know it's wrong, XYZ, but they also know that a particular group of people don't have the track record of taking people to court in order to make sure that they're treated right. The current example that we have right now is Marvel Studios. Marvel Studios is taking the heirs of the people who created those characters that they bought off another person. They're taking those people preemptively to court because after a certain period of time, those characters are supposed to go to the actual people who created the character in the first place. They were never going to be able to always have access to those characters and all that. But see, Marvel Studios is so stupid to think that they can just have all this stuff and that they're not going to pay the actual heirs of those individuals any type of money based on the creative works of those people who are part of another group. You don't see any actors, actresses who made millions of dollars off of those characters coming to the actual aid of those people who are suing as part of those people who are part of the group of the creators of those people. You don't see that. You want to know why? They know what side that they're actually on. You see, you have to understand that most most people are talking about Afghanistan because they want to protect the bottom. The protected bottom is not a group. The protected bottom is not part of a group. A protected bottom is not a group. Those people can come here, they can be minimally productive, they can create an actual group through marriage inside their own household that they're going to probably lose within a couple of generations. But at least the first preeminence of that actual group is going to function properly. But that's the thing. People understand groups, but people who don't understand groups lose a lot all the time. Oh, but that's what we are. These things are never going to change. These things are going to be the same no matter what group that you are a part of. How you get tried in society, how far people take things in society is all based on the group of people that you're a part of. That's why certain groups get tried and certain groups don't. That's why most other groups are not out there protesting. They put the money where it needs to be put and they get results right away. Why? They know what group that they are a part of, and they know how to exert pressure on the actual group itself. Money moves them. So what I'm saying is, everything that you do in society and life, it has to be based on the group of people that you want to be around. Entertainers are not a group. Entertainers are self-interested people. They always have been, and they always will be. Protecting endless nonsense is not a group. It never has been. Right now, you can go from an average everyday person to getting any type of certification that you can become productive, and now you're no longer part of the group that you used to be a part of. You don't need to go to 4 year schools and colleges to get or healthcare or HVAC or a CDO to become part of a different group and part of a different system in order to make money within society. That type of thinking have left 10 or 15 years ago. And you have to understand that you are going to have to choose the group that you want to be a part of at some point. Because everybody's going to have problems no matter what group of people that you are a part of. But it's like what type of problems and for what time period that you want to have those problems. Because you're not supposed to have productivity based problems in your 30s and 40s and 50s. That means that you are behind the time if you're still having productivity based complaints in a society that rewards productivity and specialized skill. You can't come through saying that you need to be respected by others within society when you have not separated from those who don't have any respect for you at all. Because if you haven't separated from those people who have no respect for you at all, and if you have not created a better system to where they're going to respect the fact that you left, then you don't deserve any type of respect overall. That's what all of this negotiation table nonsense is about. It's wanting to be respected without the work. And even if you did put in the work, if you're going to give it to a group of people who don't respect you at all, then what's the point of doing this whole thing? Because see, those people have already moved on to another group and they didn't ask your permission for it. They just moved to the better group. They didn't come by and ask you for any type of help or any type of assistance or anything else. They came by and went to another group for protection. And you're still begging and asking those individuals to come back to you to be a part of your group when you ain't got nothing that they want. You see, people don't understand that infinite choice given to them is a group within itself. It's a level of protection within itself. And I understood how that group worked when I went to Germany. When I went to Germany, I didn't even, that much engage into the infinite access to sex, but I knew the people who did. Those people couldn't go back to a regular, normal ass society where they had to actually go earn their way into that type of access. Those people wanted to stay being part of that group that they gain access to, whether they went there specifically or whether they ended up there in another format. So it's like this. You got to learn how the village works. You have to learn how the village works where you are a part of. You have to learn how the village works where you're trying to get access to and be a part of after that. You're going to have to learn how all of this stuff works and work together if you're ever going to make it anywhere in society and life itself. You're going to have to get a hold of the historical piece of where you are and where you're trying to go. There's no way out of that. Because when you take a side, life gets way easier once you take a side. Once you know how things work, life get way easier once you do that. Way easier. Once you start to invest things into a system you're trying to get something out of, life gets way easier. It's way easier than not choosing the side and try to play the middle. Trying to play the middle is not going to work for you. You can play the middle when you got power as a group. You can play the middle when you got power as a group. When you already have power, when you already have productivity, that's when you can play the middle. You can't play the middle if you don't have power as a group already outside of that. No one, no one's going to allow you to play. They're going to know what side your ass is on. And the same individuals who keep up conversations about waiting for this domestic reptile to come back to the table to give up her power to be a part of their group that don't have any are the same group of people who's begging everybody else for seats at their table. What's going on, Snuggles? Thanks about us. But that's where we are. Think about it. I didn't get the level of power that I had in society by sitting on the sideline. I didn't sit on the sideline. I left home at 17 years old and joined another group. I had no idea where that was going to lead to. Turned out it was the best thing for me. The very best thing for me was to join a group that wasn't the Mississippi Delta. In a place to where not having access to a car or any type of significant levels of societal connections could really doom your entire life, period. Dude, it's a village everywhere. It's a village every single place. Every place is a village, dude. And you're going to have to bring value to those people if you're going to want something out of those people. You're not going to be able to go places, provide no value, and expect to get rewarded inside of that group. Dude, life don't work that way. There's people who I help get basic level of skills. I'm talking about paying less than $500 to get them an HVAC certification or to talk to a person to let them in on a CDL class. Change their entire life, change their entire trajectory. And that's the type of time you can put into and for yourself right now. Apologize for the $10 super chat. Let's go on to go. Yeah, I'm gonna get a interview in with Nagon once he comes back from across the water, man. But that's what it is. You're going to have to join a group that is winning, that is going somewhere. I'm sorry, you're going to have to. As much as I don't like the military industrial complex, as much as I don't like people within law enforcement at some points in time, I do need the protection of that group still. And this isn't something that a group of people is going to help you with. This is something that an individual action is going to help you with. Your individual actions is going to make you part of that new group, man. It doesn't matter what group that you think you're a part of right now. Those people don't provide you any level of protection from anything. Entertainment don't provide a level of protection for a group. It doesn't. It separates you from the power that you should be exercising within that group itself. You're going to need that village, man. But you need to learn how other villages work and how the village works where you're currently at. So again, you're never going to escape the historical piece. You're never going to escape the power piece. You're never going to escape the productivity piece. No matter where you are, you're still going to have to need those particular things to make it in society. You really think that somebody is going to let you join their group, take all the value out of their group, and just let you walk the hell up out of that group? No group works like that. You're going to have to join the modern era, the modern age, man. And joining the modern era and the modern age has nothing to do with being part of the previous group that you were a part of without investment. If those people would allow you to be a part of their group without investment in your own future, then that's not part of a group that you should be a part of. Being a part of the real world is a group that you need to be a part of. But a lot of people don't want you being a part of that real world because they're here to entertain you to death, to separate you from your actual responsibility that you need to be exerting on oneself by letting you know that you're comfortable where you're at and that you don't need to change anything about yourself. That's not a part of a group of people that you need to be a part of your time. But if you sit there and you think about where you spent your time and you actually compared it to what group of people that you want to be a part of, neither one of those things actually mesh together. Because there's a lot of people who are happy that you are stagnant in society and life. That's also a group. You have to understand that a lot about where you are is dependent on other people being extremely satisfied and you not making it in society. The moment you get a certification, the moment that you start working towards stuff, think about how those people treat you the moment that you have the means of productivity associated with your name, associated with your circle, associated with the ability to move around. and an actual ability that you couldn't do before. I hear it all the time from people in email. Man, I thought I was part of certification from XYZ. I didn't have nothing in common with these people. I'm like, is that all it took for you to take a step forward to actually realize that you didn't have anything in common with these people? How much time did you actually waste not focusing on yourself, not doing things for your own well being, and exercising a level of stagnation so that way others can be happy with you? There is a lot of people who's riding on the simple fact that you're never going to get this stuff figured out. A lot of people. But you're never going to know that until you have a lot of value for yourself and something that they cannot take away from you based on opinion. This is why the opinion piece means so much to them. Because the opinion piece is something that is powerful when you don't have any value. The level of opinion from other people is definitely powerful in those set of circumstances. But the moment that you have a level of guaranteed productivity outside of somebody else's opinion, and when somebody tries to exert that level of opinion, when you have your own level of power, that's when you see it. You see, you don't see it before that. You only see it once you're put in that position. This is why you should know where those people got their power from. It's very important to understand the village that you're currently in and the village that you currently want to be a part of. Because there are going to be differences. But see, a lot of people don't want you seeing those differences because not seeing those differences is what gives them power over you in the first place. I talked to this dude 3 weeks ago. He just got a horrific situation that he put himself in. Uh, you know, done some prison time. He got out. He thought he was the man. He thought he was the man because he had access to a woman who seen value in him. She didn't see value in him. She seen value in the fact that this guy don't have any power, and that giving this dude access to sex can make him feel like the most powerful person in the world. So I told this dude, in that type of situation that you're in, why don't you start talking about getting your own self together? Why don't you start talking about getting some type of certification and moving out and doing things on your own and see how much happiness that person's going to have? We're not even talking about taking moves and steps. We're only talking about making moves and steps. That person couldn't handle it. That person could not handle the fact that that guy who thought he was the best person on the planet because he had sexual access, he had no idea the moment that he started putting value in himself and only talking about it, that person wanted to take all the power of his so-called success away from him. This is why you got to be mindful of the actual village that you're a part of and how this actual system works. Because if you don't understand how the system works, you could be here for 10 years, 20 years. The whole world can leave you behind. But see, you're part of a system that don't provide you any type of power. But see, a lot of people don't understand this type of thing until they try to leave that village that they have been protected by for a grand number of years. Yeah, you felt comfort within that village that you was a part of, but what type of power did you actually get when you was there? Your level of non-productivity gave them power over you. You got comfort, they got power over you. You couldn't even ask the basics of simple questions about where's this stuff headed without the whole thing crumbling down upon your head. This is why these things are so important. That's right. Every single person that you tune into, it doesn't matter whether it's me or anybody else, it's going to tell you exactly where you're going to end up at the end of the type of books you read, the stuff that you're actually interested in, it's going to let you know where you're going to end up at the end of the day. That's why most people claim that they've read the same sort of books within society. Why? It's because it's going to lead them to a particular point of being comfortably stagnant. But that's what we are. It's always going to be a village, man. It's going to be a village that you're moving towards, or it's going to be a village that you're moving from. But once you have the specifics in mind about where you're trying to move from one place to another, that's when the stuff starts to come together. In a village of silence to nonsense, it's never going to move you anywhere. But the people who are benefiting off of your stagnation, they're never going to tell you that, man. They're never going to tell you that. They're never going to tell you that stuff. Because everything that they are in society and life is based on the simple fact that you're never going to move from where you are. It is better to base things on credentials and the opinions of people who control those credentials than those people who don't have credentials and still control your opinion. You got to be mindful of how people got their position. And you got to be mindful of how you're going to ever make it there to the top of that position to which you are actually spend the grand majority of your time. You have to understand, dude, there's so much information out there now on every particular system. People are going to treat you like you are a willing participant in those type of systems. Dude, no one is going to have any type of sympathy for where you end up at now. They're going to truly think you're a damn fool. They're going to truly think that you were there specifically to help those group of people. Dude, we got the chances now that no other group of people have had before. There is no drug war that's affecting you. There is no significant levels of out and out violence from actual racism that's stopping you. Nothing is stopping you from getting the most that you can get out of life right now. Can I tell you how many people I ran into in supermarkets and all this kind of other stuff doing the basics of society, and they're like, "Oh, word, I could do this right here." Yeah, man. You're just gonna have to divide your time. Get a certification, start to move up, start to move out of the house, start to experience life, start to travel other places, start doing things based on productivity and keeping things rather than giving all your value away. Yeah, this is open for everybody at this point. It's all about the village that you want, and this stuff is a choice at this point. You got to understand that, dude. Listen, it does take a village, just not the village that you're in. If you can't see how you can make it to the top of that endpoint to where you're currently at, it's time for you to start evaluating your options and start taking better decisions on a one-to-one basis. Start making those decisions. Start having those conversations with those people that you used to be around. You're going to find out very quickly that those people are happy that you're stuck, happy that you can't figure it out, happy that you can't move, happy as hell that you can't see the future, happy that you're not going anywhere. That group that you're a part of, they're going to be happy as hell that you are where you're a part of. They're going to be happy that you're talking about nonsense, happy, overjoyed with the simple fact that you can't fit in with the rest of society itself. They're going to be happy about that. But see, once you start making those moves and start acting within a level of actual compliance to self and doing things for your actual well-being for self, a lot of people's not going to like that because everything about their power is based on the fact that you weren't going anywhere. But that's where we're at, man. You've got to stop thinking that there aren't villages out there for you to join. There always are villages for you to join. Stagnation is a village too. Not getting your stuff together and expecting to be respected while you have nothing to offer to the world, that is also a village too. Start making sure that you have things that other people want outside the village that you're currently a part of, and you're not going to have anything in common with those people the moment you start talking about it, not the actions, but just start talking about it. Because the people who are not going anywhere, they don't mind having endless discussions about nonsense. Ask them about where these things lead, and that's when the fig leaf falls off. The moment you start asking these people about where does this nonsense lead to, strong green machine, strong blade. So with that said, let me get up out of here. I've been here for an hour, so I want to thank you guys for coming through. I want to thank you guys for continue to support the channel. You have to understand, man, there's not a lot of people who want to move forward. There's a lot of people who want to be felt where they're at. You got to keep your tolerance low and your skepticism high. And the man tomorrow, you guys have a really nice night. Peace. Thanks for coming through.